allow him into every aspect of our lives, and want him in every aspect of our lives. God is a gentleman. Like, he's not just going to step in if he's not wanted. What's up? Welcome back to another episode of Get in the Word, where we dive into God's Word to answer our questions, specific topics that we're wondering about, and just allow us to feel like we have direction in life from nobody else but God alone. So let's go ahead and dive into today's message. It's going to be a short and sweet one, but a very, very important one that I know will bless a lot of you. By the way, my name is Hannah. If you're new here, I would really appreciate if you subscribe to this channel. I put out new episodes every single Wednesday, so make sure that you are watching out every Wednesday for a new episode. But today we're going to be talking about how to get closer to God and how to really develop this close relationship with Him that we all want, right? Like, we all see these super spiritual, super connected people on Instagram or maybe at our church or specific pastors or speakers, and we wonder, how did they get that close to God? Like, how did they just get so connected and so spirit filled? And how are they able to hear His voice so well? How does that happen? Like, how can I get that? This is something that I used to wonder a lot when I would see specific people that had this super close relationship with Him. And I would think that they're like the chosen ones. They're the special ones that God chose to be anointed, and He appointed them to this position that they're in. And He's like, okay, you're the ones that are just going to be like my special people. I know it can be so easy to fall into that trap of comparison through social media and just seeing how everyone else goes about their relationship with God. And it can start to feel like, am I doing something wrong? Like, why don't I feel that? Why don't I have that experience with Him? Or why can't I hear Him that way? And while it's definitely easier said than to actually believe it, God wants to have that type of relationship with all of us. And that closeness with Him is available to all of us. So today I have 3 steps that I'm going to give you if you want to get closer to God. Just kidding. I don't have any steps for you. There's no specific system to follow in order to get closer to God. It is a personal relationship. It's not going to look like how somebody else's relationship with Him looks like. The best way to really think about this is just to think about a normal relationship you have here on earth. If you've had a relationship in the past, or if you currently have a relationship with a significant other, think about how you formed that relationship. You got to know them, right? You spent time with them, and maybe on the first date, you felt like you had to act a specific way, or you wanted them to see you in this specific way. So you talked a certain way, you dressed a certain way, maybe you kind of were more cautious of your behavior. But as time went on, you started to be more authentic to who you actually were. You started to show them who you really were, all of your weirdness, all of your quirks, all the things that maybe you don't normally show people. You started to get more comfortable with this person. And so you started to just be yourself. And over time, they started to love you for who you are, not who you pretended to be on the first date. If you would have kept that up for the rest of the relationship, you would have gotten so exhausted, and this person probably wouldn't have loved you in the same way because you wouldn't have been you, and they wouldn't have been able to connect with you in the way that you are connected now because you wouldn't be you. Like, you would be somebody that's not even real. And don't you want to be with someone that loves you for who you actually are anyway, right? And the same thing goes with God. Like, He already knows you for you, and He wants you to just be real around Him. He doesn't want you to put on this front to try to show off in front of Him or try to be this really good person, because He knows who you really are anyway. Be honest with Him about how you feel. Be honest with Him when you are feeling super frustrated or overwhelmed or stressed, or maybe you're angry at Him. Maybe you're feeling like He's been distant or He's not showing up for you in the way that you expected. Bring those things to Him, because again, He already knows you. He knows your heart. He knows how you're feeling. So when you can be honest with Him, it shows that you trust Him. I want to read you a psalm that literally shows this perfectly. David is like the homie. He's one of my favorite people in the Bible because he's just so real with God and he's just so himself. And I just love that about him. He is very, very emotional. He brings it all to God. He doesn't try to hide from him. He doesn't hold back from letting God know exactly how he feels. So this is Psalm 77. It's a little long, so just bear with me, but really just listen to it and notice exactly how David is approaching God and exactly like the emotions that he is dealing with in this psalm. I cry aloud to God, and he will hear me. I sought the Lord in my day of trouble. My hands were continually lifted up all night long. I refused to be comforted. I think of God, I groan. I meditate, my spirit becomes weak. You have kept me from closing my eyes. I am troubled and cannot speak. I consider days of old, years long past. At night I remember my music. I meditate in my heart, and my spirit ponders. Will the Lord reject forever and never again show favor? Has his faithful love ceased forever? Is his promise at an end for all generations? Has God forgotten to be gracious? Has he in anger withheld his compassion? So I say, I am grieved that the right hand of the Most High has changed. I will remember the Lord's works. Yes, I will remember all your ancient wonders. I will reflect on all you have done and meditate on your actions. God, your way is holy. What God is great like God? You are the God who works wonders. You revealed your strength among the peoples. With power, you redeemed your people, the descendants of Jacob and Joseph. The water saw you, God. The water saw you, it trembled. Even the depths shook. The clouds poured down water. The storm clouds thundered. Your arrows flashed back and forth. The sound of your thunder was in the whirlwind. Lightning lit up the world. The earth shook and quaked. Your way went through the sea and your path through the vast water, but your footprints were unseen. You led your people like a flock by the hand of Moses and Aaron. So as you can see, this psalm is like very, very real. He starts it off with basically saying, I think of God and I groan. Like, I just think that's so hilarious because let's be honest, who has ever thought about God or just felt so annoyed with God that you don't even want to approach him? You don't even want to worship him. I've definitely been there before, and it's a very frustrating place to be because you know he's the only one that can really make you feel better. But in those moments, you're like, I want nothing to do with you right now. I'm so frustrated with you. And that's exactly what David was saying. He's seeking the Lord because he's like, I need you, God. And where are you? Are you just never going to show me favor again? Or am I always going to just be troubled? And then he immediately turns it around and says, I remember all that you have done for me, all that you have brought me out of, all the works you've done, all the miracles you've done. And he gives God the praise because even in the struggle, even in the times when he's so annoyed and frustrated, it doesn't change who God is to him. He can be honest with him about his feelings, but then he goes on to say, okay, I'm going to think about all the things that you have done for me and remind myself who you are. And I think this is exactly how we should be approaching God, just being very, very authentic about where we're at in our lives, about how we feel, about the way that we feel about God. Being honest with him is so important, but also being honest with yourself and looking at yourself and asking, how can I show up better in this relationship? What am I lacking? What am I not doing that I could be doing better in this relationship? The same thing as a relationship that you have here on earth physically. It's like if you want to strengthen that relationship, what are you going to do? You're going to spend more time with them. You are going to communicate with them more. You're going to open up more to them and share things more vulnerably so that they can get to know you more. They can have a more deep, intimate connection with you. And that's the same thing that we get to do with God. He wants us to just trust him enough to give him full control over every single thing in our lives, allow him into every aspect of our lives, and want him in every aspect of our lives. God is a gentleman. Like, he's not just going to step in if he's not wanted. So if you want to form a closer relationship with God, if you want that stronger connection with him, remember that it is a relationship. Treat it like a relationship. Allow him into your day, allow him into your life. Go to him for decisions that you need to make. Go to him for advice. Go to him with problems. Go to him with feelings. Go to him with everything, and know that he is trustworthy and he wants you to come to him for all of it. I hope this was helpful for you today. I hope you know that wherever you're at in your relationship with God, it's not wrong. You're not behind. It may look different from somebody else's, but that's what makes it special. That's what makes it unique. And if you want to get closer to him, all you have to do is invite him in and just be yourself. If you are not subscribed, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment if this spoke to you in any way. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. And I will see you all in the next episode. Bye.